What's up, guys? Thank you for checking out this episode of Chewing the Rag featuring Melo. We're going to do our Minutes with Melo. Before we begin, just want to give a couple quick shout outs. First and foremost, I want to shout out Serenity Landscaping and Property Management Services. All your landscaping needs, as simple as mowing the lawn or those big projects that you've been putting off. The nice weather's here. Memorial Day weekend just passed. I know you're going to be doing things outside. Maybe you're going to have some company over. Make all that stuff easy for yourself. Give Serenity Landscaping Services a call at 518-331-0774 and let them know that Chris from Chewing the Rag sent you. I also want to give a quick shout out to Rite. Again, plumbing, drain issues, sewer issues. Rite's great. I've worked directly with them on stuff that I've had. I've gone on jobs with them. Their rates are fair. They don't hit you with any of those like nonsense weekend fees or anything else that a lot of their competitors try to do. So what you're going to want to do for them, same thing. Give a phone call to 518-649-0921 and let them know that Chris from Chewing the Rag sent you. Also, I apologize. Also, if you are like me and you work a 9-to-5, I work a 9-to-5. I'm raising a son. I stream video games. I do the podcast, obviously. I'm trying to work on like physical health, everything else, and I get run down. I'm constantly, I drink a cup of coffee in the morning, maybe two between morning and afternoon, and then maybe I'll go grab an energy drink. I'm trying to cut back on that a little bit and be a little bit more healthy, and that's where I think Dubby's going to come in. So Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you energy, focus, no crash, no jitters, and they've got a lot of great flavors. So what you're going to want to do for that, go to dubby.gg, that's DUBBY.gg, and at checkout, enter promo code CHEWIN, CHEWIN, there's no G, DUBBY.gg. Get what you need. Get yourself one of those great tasting energy drinks. It's a powder, so you'll save money. I mean, realistically, it'd come out to be about $1 a can, as opposed to these $3, $4 energy drinks that you're buying. So save yourself some money. Make it in the morning. Shake it up. Good throughout the day. No jitters. Tastes great. There's a lot of like good stuff in there. It's no real hidden ingredients or anything. It's a handful of ingredients. And you can get 10% off your purchase by using promo code CHEWIN at checkout. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And we are good. What's up, brother?
What's good? What's good?
Fucking just pull up these notes here. This is our third episode, right? You and I? We did our first. We did a first. So for everybody who doesn't know, it's my man Melo. We do a segment called Minutes with Melo. And we did one real long episode. I mean, I guess realistically, our last two were full episodes. The second one wasn't really even supposed to be.
Yes, I think the first one was an introduction, kind of.
Yep.
But that definitely I think was over 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And the last one we had some fan questions, and that definitely lasted about an hour.
Bro, we just went every question. Some of them were wild. So it's just like we were like, yeah, no, we'll just do a quick segment, answer some fan questions, have fun, do Minutes with Melo. And that shit, we were like, I guess it's just a full episode. It is what it is. But they're fun. These Minutes with Melo are fun because we either get fan questions like Melo mentioned, or we'll just come up with like topics that we think will be interesting and that really pertain to us as well. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about laziness, and not like physical, I don't want to go to the gym laziness. Of course, that'll get mentioned, but just laziness in your art, in your craft. If you're somebody like us who wants to make content, or if you're an aspiring comic or musician and your work doesn't match what you're saying you want, that's the laziness we're going to talk about today.
Yes, 100%. Like you said, it not physical, but we see it in just so many aspects. Like I said, just musicians, artists, content creators, comedians, writers, producers, anyone that just kind of trying to hone their craft and really work on it. We're pretty much just covered or surrounded by a generation of people who kind of don't think they have to do that.
Exactly. You said it best, like this generation specifically, because we're in that generation now where everybody has a phone, everybody, you know, they want to go viral, they want to make content, they want that title, but they don't necessarily know the work that comes into it. So they think they're just going to point a phone on themselves, dance in front of a tree at their local park, and then go viral. And it's like, bro, that's just not how it works. I promise you.
You weren't even a good dancer.
No, you're ass. If you go viral, it's because everybody's making fun of you in their group chats. Like, and I want to preface this as well, because when we talk about like these topics, this has nothing to do. Mental health can also play a part in this. So this has nothing to do with mental health. I understand that somebody might get depressed or have anxiety or something like that. This doesn't apply to that. That's a viable excuse as to putting something on the back burner before somebody in the comments runs their mouth and it's like, well, what about the, I'm not talking about them. Those guys have an excuse. I'm talking about the lazy people. This is for lazy people.
100%. That's exactly. That's why the title, how you brought the conversation out was perfect. Laziness is not
Lazy.
people who aren't good at their craft. It's not people who don't have the time. It's not people who, because I'll be honest, some people can put in a lot of work and nothing can ever come out of it. But
Mm-hmm.
hey, if you're out there putting quality work, then to some people that's okay. But it's definitely about the laziness about it.
100%. And this also triers. Like there's just people who try something and they're like, it ain't for me. That's cool too. You got to try it. This has nothing to do with that. This is strictly laziness. I support triers. I'm a fucking trier, honestly. And I'll probably get into that, but this is all just laziness. So I got a list here. We'll just feed off each other. And the first thing, number one, the key thing with laziness, the motherfucker that makes excuses. The
Oh
motherfucker that
yes.
has an excuse for literally everything, bro.
100%. Those type of people obviously will be like they try. They don't necessarily say the world's against them,
Mm-hmm.
but somehow everything that can happen happens. Everyone that can be in their way is in their way. Anyone that can pose a threat, and it's just like they just somehow can't get past, beyond, or over any of it.
Exactly. It's the person that, oh, I wanted to do this, but I just can't because this, or I wanted to do that, I can't because that. And it's like you get that only happens so many times. Like eventually you got to look within. Why am I making these excuses? Is this something I want to do? Maybe it's not. Maybe it wasn't for you, but you have to answer that yourself. And I find with people who have a craft, you notice those people, if that, what am I trying to say? If their art isn't matching what they say they want and they're making excuses, those excuses are probably directly correlated to why your content ain't great or that song you wrote is kind of ass or, whatever it might be.
No, 100%. And it's funny because usually it's always the same excuses.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
100%.
like, if it's one thing, have you tried? What have you tried doing about it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it's not, like, let's just pick this one thing. What have you tried to do about it? How can you try to avoid it? How can you actually, like, oh, maybe I don't know how to do this. Well, how can you learn a little bit? Like, where can you start? Or I can't do this because of this. Well, how can you remove that obstacle out the way? How can you make this transition a little easier? Just certain things like that. And it's just like it's never really like a whole bunch of excuses. Honestly, it's always the same. I want to say one or a few, but it's always the same thing over and over again. The one or a few things that they never even try to get a solution, or even whether or not there is a solution. It's just something that they throw out there as, and that's what's happening.
100%. And like, even with me personally, so the old podcast that I had, you look at the YouTube channel for that, there's no video. We're not on camera. And when I made this, I didn't know how to, get a good pod on camera or everything or anything. And I was like, people aren't gonna respect the fact that, okay, you want to be on YouTube. Why is I'm just looking at a picture. So I was
Right.
like, all right, let me do this, let me put in the work. And then I noticed my Mac's webcam was ass. I was like, that ain't gonna work either. Like, you don't want that image. Like, all right, I'm finally on camera. It looks like shit. Lighting was shit. Get a ring light. Like, there's always a way to turn your excuses, get rid of them. Just get rid of the fucking things. Because every excuse you have, there's usually a solution to the problem you're creating in your head.
Oh no, 100%. And like for us specifically, obviously we're both in the content creation podcast as well. So specifically for the podcast, a lot of people I've talked to me about, oh, like I had this idea for a podcast, but it's like, oh, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that. I
Mm-hmm.
always say I didn't either.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
I didn't a couple months ago. I've actually been doing a podcast for 2 years, and I had no problem using um uh a gaming headset with a
Yep.
mic on it. A couple months ago, I was like, okay, like I'm actually doing a little something. Maybe I should get a good mic. Next, just like you said, the next thing for me, I always have a background because I have nothing but a white closet wall behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing on my list, I gotta get a ring light.
There
I
you go.
gotta get better lighting, so it's like it don't happen overnight. I've been doing what I've been doing for 2 years. I think you've been doing podcasting for over a year now,
Mm-hmm.
between both podcasts. So it's like you have to start somewhere. You have to pick something to start, and it's funny because like I see a lot of people like, oh, I've had this idea for years, and it's like honestly, all this stuff was cheaper a couple years ago. You
Yeah,
could have
bro.
got away with starting a podcast for under $100 if you really
Exactly.
wanted to.
Exactly.
So it's like at this point, some of those excuses are like you said, just excuses. They never plan on getting that equipment. They
No,
never plan on putting the time. They actually just like, oh, I could have done this, I could have did that, I wanted to do this. But I want like a lot of people want to do a lot of things. Like doesn't mean they're gonna just happen.
exactly. Exactly. If you really want it, you wouldn't be telling me you want it. You would be going online and you would be looking at how to get started. Because I'm not gonna get you. What am I gonna get? You want me to empty my wallet for you? What the fuck you telling me for? Go start. I can't start
Well,
for you. Like,
literally, and not even that. Like I'll have the conversation. What do you suggest? Like I can't tell you.
right. I don't even know
I
what you
would
want.
say I don't exactly. I don't remember what I got first. And
Yeah.
two, I just want based off advice of what I researched at the time and what I thought was best for me.
hundred
That could
percent.
be a whole different situation for you. Some things I might be cheap out on, But that's the thing, like you have to do the thing like the same way I learned what I learned,
Right.
you go learn it too.
Like, it sounds
It's not
corny,
like I'm
but
an
like,
expert.
yeah, it
Like
sounds corny, but it's like it's your journey. Like, that's literally what it is. It's cliche, but that's your journey. That's something you got to figure out. I can't do it for you. You want my advice? I mean, we could brainstorm something together, but that's it. And at the end of it, I'm gonna be like, that's just what I would do. I'm gonna do that old cliche where it's like, that's just what I will do. That way, if you take my advice and it don't work, it's like, I didn't tell you to do it, motherfucker. I just said that's what I would do.
I
And
always say just go on Amazon.
bro, that's what I did.
Go on
Everything.
Amazon, go to Google.
Everything.
Like I said, it's a podcast generation now. Everyone loves and it's not a problem with it.
No.
Everyone loves being in front of the mic. Everyone loves being in front of camera. And as long as you have an audience, you can. That's perfectly fine. And it's crazy because there's so many things out here that you wouldn't think that have an audience. Like I really be
Bro.
looking at some of these people that have like thousands, hundreds, or hundreds of thousands of followers, and it's like,
Yeah, bro.
what is it like? Why are you obsessed with this person?
I swear. I swear. There's so much of it. And it's like, damn, I could have been doing that. And it's like, but you're not. Like you could be now. Find your own lane, damn it, because it's taken. It's like, yeah, I guess so. And this comes, I mean, this really kind of directly correlates into what we're saying is like the people that do start finally, you notice in the beginning, they might hit real hard. They're on schedule, they're trying to bring in viewers, they're attractive. And then we'll just say for podcasting, for example, 5 episodes deep, you notice consistency falling off. You notice, okay, he missed this week. Okay, his episodes are getting shorter. Okay, whatever it might be. That's another sign of probably laziness once that consistency falls. If you're not ending it, but your consistency drops, that's most likely you just being lazy.
And that's the crazy part is because like at the very least, you have people out there who got what they got with no talent,
Mm-hmm.
no skill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they might have a niche, they might have a following, but what all of them do have is consistency.
All of them.
And
All.
if anything, you need consistency. All these TikTokers, the ones who are popping, they're always on live. They're always dropping videos. The ones who do good, like I follow a lot people who do good like skits or just just
Yeah.
jokes or like I love to be on TikTok specifically because that's what's popping right now. And
Yep.
I love laughing.
Yeah.
Like I want to laugh. So I follow a lot of people and like them guys, like I be sitting here thinking like how do you come up with that? Because like it's a constant like and you can't copy like you said like you have to be the original. If someone takes it, you can't be in their lane. And it's like I'd be amazed by how some of these people come up with it. But at the very least, and some of them don't be hits. But at the end of the day, they're gonna drop you that one video at least like 2-3 vids a week. Some of them mostly
Exactly.
TikTok, it's at least a vid a day.
Yeah.
At
Easily.
least a bit a day. Yeah,
Easily.
for most TikTokers. So it's like, yeah, you definitely at the very least, if you don't have anything, have consistency. And me, and like I said, I have my own podcast. I definitely stress like that's what definitely we should be building off of. Like amount things. Let's get better at doing things,
Yep.
and then we'll get better at doing things better.
Exactly.
First, let's get better at doing things.
Exactly.
Then
Exactly.
we'll get better at doing it better. We don't have to be perfect, but we have to be consistent.
And
100%.
this is something you and I think, on our very first episode talked about is like, if we don't like something, we're willing to scrap it because we do like that quality. But in the beginning, you can't do that.
Mm-mm.
In the beginning, you're probably going to suck. You're going to learn through that suck. First and foremost, the very first step is putting it out there. And once you tell people, like, hey, every week this is what's coming, or every day this is what's coming, this is what I'm doing, just do it. Like, the legwork
Mm-hmm.
has to be done. That's that consistency that's going to get you a fan base. Because ultimately, that's why people do this. Like,
Exactly.
you obviously want viewers. You don't want to be talking to yourself. So how do you
Mm-hmm.
develop viewers? Give them something to view. You need that consistent. Like, I missed last week. I'll be honest. May's a super busy month for me, and I put out. I knew I was gonna miss it, so I recorded like a 3-minute episode. It's just an episode that says like, there won't be an episode this week. I'm really sorry. I haven't missed a week since starting this. I don't plan on doing it again. I just been really busy, but I would hate for you guys to look this week and not see at least a title and something. So they had something to click on, and they're like, shit, he's not going to be here, but at least I know he's not going to be here. I know the podcast ain't just ending. And like, to me, that was probably the right move. I didn't feel good even doing that. Like, I don't like skipping, but at least I put it out into the universe. Like, this is what's going on.
No, 100%. And I'll be honest, I personally love that the communication with the fans. Maybe I should take a tip at your butt because when we miss a podcast over here at Who You Got, y'all shit out of luck. We don't tell you. Uh,
That's how it used to be over
Yo,
here.
we've been doing this for over 2 years, over 100 episodes, and by God, we have y'all find out when y'all find out, and that's probably
Yeah.
why we don't got fans. If I'm being honest, they're like, bro, I don't know when these motherfuckers are coming out with shit. Then 2 weeks later, oh, there's those guys. Let's see what
Yeah.
they got to say. So no, honestly, the communication is great. I never even thought about that as a creator. And honestly, that's probably because I don't have those really a reoccurring fan.
Yeah.
But the fact that you started off doing that from the get go, and that's the thing, that work needs to be done, and even if you have no one come click on that video, you still owe that
Exactly.
work to be done, and that's
Exactly.
that's exactly how it needs to be.
Exactly. And that came from me because, these bigger podcasts, um, they skip for sure. People skip episodes all the time, and they don't feel it necessary to be like, "Hey, we skipped." They'll
They
put out
don't.
a tweet 2 days later and be like, "No episode this week." It's like, "Yeah, bitch, I noticed on Thursday when it was supposed to come out. What the fuck
Yeah,
you talking
literally.
about?" So like, I was like, I don't want to be that. So how do I fix that? I'll let people know. Just, it's just so easy. It's such a simple thing to do. And I don't care if 3 people are like, okay, well, at least he put it up. That's 3 people. Like, I'm fine with that.
Right.
I'm completely
100%.
fine with that. And then here's my biggest pet peeve on laziness. I don't like the people who make something because people will like it, but they don't like it. You know what I mean? So like you're catering, and I noticed this a lot in comedy, and I did this when I first started stand up. I was just telling like off color jokes, just trying to be funny and trying to get a laugh. And they were getting laughs, but I knew they were funny, but I didn't think they were funny. I knew they were funny to other people because of how ridiculous they were. So I started telling like real life stories about like my family and stuff because my family was fucking wild growing up to begin with. Like that was comedy. And I noticed I was like really enjoying joke writing and everything more. So a pet peeve of mine is just making art because people will like it, not because you like it.
No, 100%. And obviously, like I said, consistency is a big part of it. I just think I always bring my own podcast or my own examples
Yeah.
into it. With my podcast, I also stress quality,
Mm-hmm.
and I stress quality. And this is one of the things where you do have to kind of find the line, because I do stress quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I want to drop a video a day, but I'm not dropping a video a day just to drop a video a day. Like, it's gonna have to be stuff. And like I said, to me, it's not like, oh, like I dropped videos where the audios kind of sound garbled, and yeah, you can hear me, but it sounds trash. At the end of the day, that's the only copy I got. Like, you're gonna get it. So that's not
Right.
what I mean by quality, but
Exactly.
definitely like you 100% have to believe in your work. Like you definitely can't just be like, especially like when you come with jokes, like some comedians kind of just like they do certain jokes like you said because they know it will get a laugh,
Yep.
but there's no substance. It's lazy. Most of them are probably, and I don't know in your example, but most of them are probably overused,
Mm-hmm.
where it's just like, it's going to get a laugh because people are like, I have laughed at it before. And like I 100% get what you're saying. Like, I don't feel good getting work like that. Like if I get 5 viewers to something I felt proud of doing over 100 viewers or something I didn't like that I was involved in, I would 100% take that 5 viewers every time.
100%. And the thing that actually taught me that was I'm just pulling it up now just so I can get the title right because he's wrote a few now. Was Kevin Hart's book I Can't Make This Up, Life Lessons. He talks about um getting cheap laughs and saying like he knew that people would laugh at this, but he himself, and I forget, it was somebody in the book told, it might have been like Patrice O'Neill or something, but a comic told him like that ain't you. Like tell your story, motherfucker. Like tell your jokes. You can be funny still and you can be authentic. And I think authenticity, or not being authentic rather, is another form of laziness. You're copping out. You're going for that low hanging fruit, and you're just what's pandering, I guess is what it is. You're pandering. You
So
don't
what's
believe in
so
this shit.
crazy? There's two sides to that coin,
Mm-hmm.
because I see some people try to specifically fit a role, and then the other side of that coin, I see other people try to be so different,
Yeah,
but they're still pandering and
exactly.
not being who they are genuinely, trying to reach a different crowd.
Exactly. A
And
hundred
both,
percent.
and that's the same. And I see like I always think like to UFC fighter and their personas. When I think about that. Yeah, you can go with comedians, but that's literally where my head goes to. But content creation is the biggest culprit of that, where these people are 100% faking who they are as people just to pander to a certain audience. Like I said, some of them are trying to fit specifically in a role, and some of them are doing something so completely weird or so completely off the wall, just trying to get a reaction on the other end of that spectrum.
100. Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Like, especially you brought up fighters. I'll just bring one up. Like Colby Covington.
Exactly what I was
You
thinking
were,
about.
yeah, 100. Here, this quiet guy who thought he was going to get cut from the UFC or was told he's going to get cut from the UFC. He says, well, I'm going out with a bang then, goes to Brazil, makes fun of everything and everybody there. And then it works. So what's he do? Let me double down. Anytime I'm in an argument with somebody, race, their kids, where they live, I'm going to talk about everything. And it's like, bro. And then when you get pressed, you call the cops. Like that's if you're gonna be that street guy who's that tough guy, be that tough guy. I know you ain't. I know you're not.
And you know what's crazy is two things. Yeah, he was about to get cut, and at the end of the day, he was always a good fighter.
Yeah.
But Leon Edwards is exactly who Kobe Covington used to be. The
Thank you.
one boring guy that was a good fighter that no one wanted to talk, fight, or no one wanted to even interview because he didn't sell. At the end of the day, he made it and got his
Yeah.
chance, became a champion. But Colvin Covington, the problem I have with him is that's fake for him.
It,
It's not like he decided, let me just start talking this talk because it's good. He's actually a nice guy.
he's a really
And
nice dude.
and it's hard to like you imagine like, well, you hear the things he say, you see the things he do. What do you mean he's a nice guy? That's not who he is. He's doing that as if that's like he's a WWE superstar and
Mm-hmm.
he needs to act out a role. Like that's not who he is. And at the end of the day, he has gotten his stardom, gotten his fame, and was able to sit out almost 2 damn years and still fight for the championship
Bro, I swear to
because of
God.
that.
Like,
Because of that.
and it's like, and people are like, well, isn't that, that's a good thing? And it's like, it's not though, because his character isn't just like a badass. He's like, I mean, he says some really fucked up shit to people.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's not
That's why I
just
say it's hard
like,
to sit here and be like, what do you mean he's a good guy? Like,
yeah,
yeah,
like
because he's really just acting.
it's all it is. That's literally all it is. And I hate even to say he's a good fighter, but he is. He's an elite fighter. He's one of the best in the world.
That gas tank make no sense.
It's stupid. It's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And you just don't want to support somebody like that. And you know it's a character. Like you said, he's a good guy. But it's like this character is ass.
But that's the thing. That's what makes it worse. If you were that racist,
Yeah.
sexist, and fucked up as a person, that's one thing. But you're pretending to be to
Like,
get fans, and
bro,
that's
that
even
can't
more
feel
fucked
good.
up.
That
That's what
can't
I'm
feel
saying. That's
good.
even more fucked up. And then you still like it's so funny because I just seen an article the other day where someone's like, the article was like, oh, so and so exposed Kobe Covington. And then if you read the article, it's him saying that Kobe's a nice guy. I got to this
Yeah.
country, he
Yeah.
let me into his gym, and it's like, bro, like once again, it's like you just kind of show who he is as a person, and it really brings like, okay, like to me, it just kind of brought back like it. You aren't that guy once again. Like some people do forget that he really isn't that guy, and they get
Yeah.
lost in it.
They hate him. And it's like, I mean, that's what he wants. That's the hate. But like, it's lazy. To me, it's just lazy.
Lazy,
And I think
lazy.
it's lazy. I think it's the laziest way to get people to watch because
Yeah,
people are gonna watch because either they're fucking bigots or they want to see you lose. Like
exactly.
eyes are gonna be on you for that reason. And sure, it helps your bank account 100%. I'm not gonna sit
And
here and
that's the
argue
thing.
that.
People are gonna sit here and be like, "Oh, well, he's starting to fight." Connor's been able to sell fights being
Yeah,
just who he was. Connor
yeah,
was cocky. Connor, like you didn't have to go pretend to be racist and sexist
right.
to sell fights. There's other ways of doing this, and this is a lazy way because, like you said, it started with one comment that got a
Mm-hmm.
little traction, and
Mm-hmm.
he just like, "Oh, yeah, it's that easy.
Yeah,
All I
bro.
gotta do is say something racist and act like
Yeah.
I'm. Oh, that's it. Say less." And now you're right. That's
And
ridiculously
there's
lazy.
there's nice guys that sell fights too, like Max Holloway, nicest guy in the world. He's a draw. Like you don't need that persona. You can be a
I would
super
say
nice guy.
Kamzat even he's not a good guy, but he's
No,
not over the line ridiculously fucked up when
no,
shit he
he's just a
says.
psycho.
He's
Like
he's
he's
just
just
an aggressive psycho. But you know what I'm saying? Like
but that's
you could have
real.
did anything that is, bro.
That's not lazy because it's real. That
Khabib went
dude,
out there and did nothing. He was
nothing.
no one like he did nothing.
Nothing.
Ran
He,
through the UFC.
he just sat there. I smashed your boy. I smashed your boy. And that's it. That's all he had to say. And it was like,
Yes.
yeah, I'm
Put
gonna
on a
watch him.
fucking wig.
Yeah.
What
I'm
can
gonna
you
watch
do?
him. He's because he is probably gonna smash my boy. I don't know what the fuck you want me to tell
Exactly.
you.
So no, like that's the thing you see it in all aspects, and and that's funny because like we're talking mostly about like content creation, comedians, artists, just
Yeah.
people who are trying to put most of their stuff when it comes to like the digital world, or just
Mm-hmm.
not just necessarily digital, but at this point that's kind of where we are in our life, and it's just like a lot of everyone trying to get the quick viral video. get the quick, like just get something quick.
Yeah,
And it's so funny 'cause we're talking about that base level, but then we could transition into a top of the line UFC fighter who is kind of doing the same tactics of doing some lazy, just
literally.
just trying to get to where he need to, but
I'll
not
even
putting the work
go
and getting a persona or whatever.
exactly, and I'll even go the opposite direction. So we're talking digital, and then we're talking the elite of the elite in a combat sport. There's just your guy walking around high school who's a fucking chameleon and just blends in with every crowd and doesn't believe any of the shit he's saying because he's just trying to get through his fucking school day. Like it's literally everywhere on every single scale. I think the only group that doesn't do it are probably fucking toddlers because they don't understand it yet.
I just don't get
Like
it.
it's literally every scale has not authentic people. Every scale, like every level of human being has something that relates to what we're talking about today.
100%. And it's like they do what's convenient. They do what
Mm-hmm.
they think. Like I said, I've seen some people all fit the same mode, and then I seen some people try to be so different that they somehow still all fit the same mode, just a
Yeah.
different mode.
I had so I had a boss for a local business and he sat down with me, went to a restaurant, and he was talking about my coworker because I was kind of like a acting supervisor. And he's talking, he goes, yeah, I this dude was the same age as me, so I wasn't acting shit. I was talking shit with him. But my boss brings up that guy I'm talking about. I'll just call him Tom for now. He's talking about Tom, and he goes, yeah, I had Tom working on this, that, and this, but I don't really know if he's fit for us. And what do you mean? He goes, well, he has like he was a little scrawny white kid. He was probably a couple of years younger than me. He goes, he's got like rap music really loud when he pulls into these places and he talks with an accent. And I'm just like, bro, you're describing me. Like, what are you talking? Yeah, but you're a chameleon. You kind of make it blend. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I've never hid the fact that I like rap music and I say like coffee and sauce and stupid shit like that. People make fun of me for it. Like, I've never hid that at all. What do you mean I'm a fucking chameleon? So I was like, I had to take a step back and I'm like, Tom, you want him to lie and like hide who he is? And I'm like, that's just not how it's gonna work. That's not a thing that I'm not even gonna respect what you're about to say the rest of this meeting now. Like,
Yeah,
at all.
no, 100%. And everyone's just trying to be someone else that
Mm-hmm.
everyone else wants to be,
Mm-hmm.
or be someone else that everyone wants to view.
Right.
And it's like
And
that's a lot. That's what's scaring what we see people and the amount of work that people put in. Because like they're not putting work that they think is good work. They're just putting in work that's just enough to like get seen,
yeah.
and they
Well,
think that they can get seen by the right people.
this is what this is what sparked that conversation. I'm gonna bring it back to comedy. Is you posted a Facebook status where you called out somebody for doing you were like crowd work now. It's like that's all people care about now. And I put it, I screenshotted the tweet that I posted. It was like 3 days before that. I was like, yo, crowd work is just so lazy. And it's like,
So
that's what
lazy.
sparked this whole conversation because it's everywhere. You got rappers who, I know a kid and I'm not going to shit on him or say his name or anything, but like he's a legit talented musician, multiple genres. And he makes this like, it's just awful hip hop. It's just, and I love rap, like of all eras, all genres, but like, I know this isn't the shit that he's listening to. Like, bro, you think this is the rap that's gonna blow. That's why you're doing it.
100%. And that's what I feel like a lot of comedians are doing now. Like they're not actually trying to hone their skills,
No.
create jokes, like actually put it together. Like that's the thing about the good thing about a joke is like back in the day, you used to see a joke, you used to hear it, then you used to hear another version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then someone will add something, make it a little better. Then someone will add something, make it a little better, and then now change it up so it relates to you and your community.
Yeah.
Like it was so much that went into really just creating a joke, getting the punchline out, making it relate to people around that you're telling it to, and get that good reaction. Now people, and it's so funny because like a lot of people don't realize a lot of these skits, people who create skits on TikTok and all them, those are comedians now.
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
the people who are going and do stand up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like some of them aren't funny,
No,
like
not
at
at all.
all.
Not at all.
And then when you do see comedians, all and I seen someone's like, oh well, comedians don't like to post their jokes.
Right.
And it's like I get that a little bit, but if and I pay attention to outfits and people in the crowd. If I'm seeing like literally 20-minute plus worth of you just talking to the crowd,
Yeah.
you're not doing enough.
Right.
I didn't come, I'll be honest, I didn't come to get talked to.
Yeah, motherfucker, leave me alone.
I didn't come to hear you talk to someone else. I came to hear you tell jokes.
Mm-hmm. And
And go ahead.
no, sorry. So I want to preface this with this is specific to guys who aren't known for that. So like, Andrew Schultz, Big J Okerson, like just a couple random names. They're known for crowd work. So if you go sit in their crowd, you probably know you're going to get picked on or talked to rather. It's the people that don't advertise that they're crowd work guys or they call themselves just like stand-ups. And then you go and it's just, what do you do for a living? You do what? And it's like, shut the
Literally.
fuck. You don't care what I do for a living, motherfucker. What do you do for a living? Because it ain't tell jokes. You're having a conversation with me right now.
100%. And I usually, well, most of those people, like when you actually get to see a joke,
Yeah.
it's not a well, and it's usually a stereotypical joke.
Yeah.
The comedians love politics or controversial stuff, and like
Mm-hmm.
we talk about, that's lazy. And it's just like they're not really just bringing much to the table, but trying to get a quick laugh, and then they'll get a quick laugh, and then go right back to trying to interact with the crowd. It's like,
Yeah. And it's
no,
like, bro, that's so lazy. Like, you're, first of all, you're new to the game. You've been doing comedy for what, 3 years? You're new to the game. Write a fucking joke. Like,
that's what I said. Hone
these
those skills.
these other guys that you see doing crowd work that you want to be like, they've been writing jokes for 15 years. Like, they've earned the right to go up there and do 50 minutes of jokes and then 10 minutes of crowd work. What, you haven't earned that right. You haven't been doing shit. You're so new. Learn to write a joke because that's what's going to impress people. And I don't want to post my jokes online. I get, like you said, to a point
To a
because
point, but we have to know you're funny.
because you don't want to post, you don't have to post your whole set. You know what I mean? Like, I could post videos of, I have jokes that I've posted online. I didn't do anything for me. When I went and performed live, I was able to tell 15 other jokes around that joke. Like, that didn't kill me that I posted that clip. It's not going to kill you,
100%.
especially if you're always working.
And that's why, like, I always get weary of young comedians who
Mm-hmm.
are up and come and get popular, but like you said, they have no jokes online. It's just straight crowd work. Cause it's like, I question how much of your craft have you actually worked on? Because it's like you said,
Exactly.
those people who did crowd work, like they're back and forth very witty.
Yeah.
These new kids, they're like, they'll talk back and forth for like 25, 45 seconds and
Yeah.
then say something funny and then try to get a laugh and then go like, so it's slow pace. It's like you're literally watching someone have a conversation with someone. Like, no, I don't want to
And
watch this.
I almost want to directly correlate that with the podcast boom. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they can't, because every comedian has to have a podcast now, obviously. It's like
Mm-hmm.
they can't step away from their podcast and stop podcasting. And it's like, bro, if that's the case, like, maybe pick a different lane, like pick one or the other. If I'm not going to see you live, if it's not a live podcast recording, to hear you do a podcast, I don't give a fuck what you and this woman talk about for fucking 5 minutes. I don't care about her. She's just like me. She's a veterinarian. She's not fucking entertaining me. I'm sorry.
No, and honestly, I do be seeing that like with the comedian podcast, like they're not telling jokes. They're literally
Yeah.
like telling like so some of them I get like if you really like, but that's what I said, you have to be old because if you
Right.
have a good following, been a comedian for a while, 100% hop off a podcast, you can sit there and tell road trip stories
Yeah.
and your fans are going to sit
That's
there and
fine.
listen and enjoy that. But if you literally don't have a following, don't have a repertoire as a comedian, then what are you doing on the podcast telling us what? Like what are we telling us?
Exactly. And people, you know, this could even go back to me. Like, they could be like, well, what are you doing? You're talking about, and I'm like, but I'm not up here. I'm not sitting on this mic going, oh, I'm a great comedian. I'm doing this, that, and the third. Like, don't confuse what I'm doing for that, because that's a completely different thing. I'll give you my perspective as what I saw as somebody who went to open mics or somebody that tried to produce his own comedy show and everything else. But I'm not sitting here and going, oh, this, that, and then going to do fucking crowd work on stage that night. And it's like, that's not what I'm talking about, bitch. So don't try to bring that
No,
back to me.
and it's a big difference. But we talk a lot about the podcast culture. Like I honestly like, there's a lot about the podcast culture that I hate. And people are like, oh, but you got a podcast. And I always tell like, why are you listening to all these people tell you this stuff that are not qualified to tell you this stuff? And people are
Exactly.
like, oh, you do a sports podcast. But yeah, mine is just an opinion. I could 100% be wrong to everybody. Like,
Exactly.
I'm not an expert at it, but at least with sports, I can have some sort of stats
Mm-hmm.
to back it up. Like, okay, like if this person shot 9 for 10, I can probably say quite confidently that he could be a good shooter. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
no.
not gonna get butchered for saying that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, it
like,
ain't Ben Simmons.
it's 100%. Because even if Ben Simmons hit 9 for 10, you're still not convincing me he a good shooter.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying. So I'm not an expert. I know that, but hey, some people like to hear sports. Some people might want to hear what I got to say. That's perfectly fine. But some of these people, they really go on these podcasts and without doing the work
Yeah.
of knowing what they should know, being what they should be, they try to get quick audience, quick laughs. And like we were talking about creating stuff where they don't do the work. Now we're transitioning into putting out stuff where they didn't put the work in to be able to put out.
Right.
Like you don't have the credentials to be giving advice about this. You should not be able to tell someone that this is what work. Like you should not tell me what a successful comedian needs to do if you're not a successful comedian. How am I hearing this from you?
100%. You don't tell me about how marriage is this, that, and the third when you're 22 and you ain't never fucking been married. Like you wouldn't go to marriage. You wouldn't go to that guy. So why the fuck you gonna go to somebody else for, whatever it is that they're talking about? And yeah, that just drives me insane. I hate that. If there's one thing that's up there with laziness in that regard, it's unqualified motherfuckers telling you something.
100%. And that's still laziness.
It's lazy.
It's laziness
It
because you
all
don't
comes back
you
around to
don't
it.
it comes back to laziness. Like we've transitioned off to the 3 different branches at this point about people's lives that just come back to laziness. And like I said, we started off saying none of this will ever be about physical because I'm fat as fuck, so we're not gonna
Yeah,
touch physical laziness.
that's what
But
I'm
even then,
saying.
I still try to work out and do
Mhm.
that. I just the food is the problem for me. That's where I'm
Yes,
lazy at,
sir.
and I'll gladly be lazy there for the rest of my life. I can't tell you that. But yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like, yes, like physical laziness is one thing. Because I'll be honest, people like I said for mental laziness, just not doing the things you're supposed to do. There's like
Hmm.
if you're depressed, if you have anxiety, there's certain things that you just have to be able to just slowly get to. That's 100% fine.
Yeah,
Even with physical laziness, some people's bodies are different. Like some people will actually do work out, do go to the gym, do they need to do, and their body's not really responding the way it should to respond. But other type of like what we're talking about, just putting work in, hey, like putting pen to paper. Like I write. There's a lot of times where I want to do this, I want to do that. It's come down to now where it's like I know I'm the only one that like there are no excuses. There are no
hmm
like I need to find some time, put pen to paper, like set a deadline. This needs to be done. Making a podcast, we need to put a camera in front of your face, put a microphone in your face, put some pen to paper, make it get done.
a hundred
Could put a
percent.
guitar in
And
front of your hand. You know what I'm saying?
whatever it
Do what you
is,
gotta do. Exactly.
whatever it is, and in regards to physical laziness, and we're probably gonna wrap this up, but for physical laziness, I did do amateur MMA, and the second fight I ever took, I ended up pulling out, and it was because my job schedule changed, which means my training schedule was going to change. I couldn't guarantee my opponent was going to get 100% of me. And I also couldn't guarantee that I was going to be able to take 100% of my opponent. So that's a totally different thing where if you're, and it sucked because, I'm telling my opponent, like, it was a few weeks out. They were able to get somebody else. It was a few months out, rather. And, but I had to tell them, like, look, I'm not going to come in there and half ass this thing because you're not half assing it. You're going to fuck me up. So
Right.
why would I voluntarily do that? So in regards to that, that's still it is physically lazy because I probably could have figured out something with training, but it's that mental ability to not be lazy that made me say no.
Hey, if it
Like
wasn't gonna be your best, then you didn't want to throw it out there.
it don't make any damn sense. This comes after John Parker beat my ass in 27 seconds. I'm never going through that shit again. Fuck no. So I couldn't do it. And you just gotta, it sucks, but sometimes you gotta be able to just say no and backpedal and just take a look at the big picture of things. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. And it shows in their work. Like it still comes back to being lazy. You got, if you're not
Mhm.
looking at, do you look at it as a fucking painting? If you're not looking at it corner to corner and every piece of that paper and you're overlooking things, your painting's gonna look like shit.
100%. A lot of people, they don't even begin to understand what it takes to do some of these things,
Yeah.
and these aren't even hard things. It's just things that you have to say. You have to be consistent. You have to put the work in, and even doing it without being good at it, you can't be lazy.
No, and I get being eager. Eagerness is a good, that's a good quality to have. You know, you want to jump right in, you want to do the work. But once you put your foot in, just do the fucking work. That's all it is. Like, don't let that eagerness go away. Remember how fun it was day one when you were setting up on day fucking 20. And just know that day five is probably gonna suck. Like, it's okay. Just keep going and don't let that laziness win. If it's mental health or anything, do what you gotta do to combat that. That's not what we're talking about today.
100%.
Where can people find you, Mello?
You already know, if you like sports, go ahead and listen to Who You Got podcast. You can find us on YouTube. We got a website, whoyougotpodcast.com, or pretty much on our socials at Who You Got Podcast. If you want to check me out personally, pretty much Mellow the Notorious on the socials, and pretty much Instagram, and you can find everything else from there.
Excellent. And for myself, ChewinTheRag.com. Make sure for both of us you follow, like, rate, subscribe. You know, if you're listening to Who You Got on YouTube, definitely subscribe there. Chewing the Rag, subscribe there. Rate both podcasts. You know, Mello and I both, our brains cut. This is why we do Minutes with Mello, because we both care about the quality and the quantity of things. And your guys' feedback is important to both of us. Special thanks to Rite and Serenity Landscaping Services for everything that they do. And remember to go to w.gg and use promo code Chewin at checkout for 10% off your purchase there. You got anything else, Mello?
No, sir.
Excellent, my friend. Can't wait to put this out. Thank you again for all your time, and thank you guys for listening.
Peace.